Dr. Eugene Perelshteyn, and together with ChessLecture.com, I want to welcome you to lecture number 2 of the series Think Like a Grandmaster. Now, in this series, I'm going to try to go over as much thinking as I did during the games to show you what exactly the type of ideas I had, what went through my mind, and so try to give you a lot of practical advice how to pick and choose the best move in a given position. So today we want to take a look at one of my games that I recently played in the US Chess League as a part of Boston Blitz, and this game is against Brian Smith, who is a very strong, about 2400 rated player. So I'm white. Let's start. D4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4. So as you see, this is the King's Indian defense, and this time I'm white. I usually play this opening for the black side, and black castles. Now typically it doesn't matter, black can play d6 first or castle. The reason why is e5 is considered not that strong due to knight e8 followed by d6 and c5, very strong counterplay in the center. So that's why I just go knight f3, d6, and bishop e2. And we just transposed to the classical variation of King's Indian. Now I have to confess, I am a newcomer to 1d4. All my life I used to play e4, but now that I'm a grandmaster, I have to play in a lot of strong tournaments, and I want to try to, vary my opening repertoire as much as possible for two reasons. One, it's much tougher for my opponents to prepare for me because they can never expect what I'm going to play. And the second reason is I want to master new openings and learn new pawn structures and new types of positions. So bishop e2, e5. So as you recall, in my first lecture, I played knight a6, which I consider is a bit more flexible than e5, because black can still play e5, or black can also play c5, depending on what white does. But normally it just transposes. So e5, and now I played bishop e3. So let's think about this position for a moment. Let's go back. What other choices does white have? White can close the center with d5, but I really don't like this idea because you basically give black a free hand on the king side. After the knight moves and f5, black is going to have a very easy game. And at the same time, after d5, you give away the c5 square for black's knight. So black can play a5, followed by knight a6, and knight c5. So as you see, d5 is a very committal move, and it gives away a lot of squares. So another choice is d takes e. Well, this is a well-known position in theory, and it's really about equal. So I don't even want to go in detail about this endgame. The other main move here is castle. And now black can play knight a6 and try to transpose into this variation after bishop e3, which is a main line, or rook e1. Again, d5 here is not that good because of knight c5. And this is how I won my previous game, which I talked about in lecture number 1. But now black can also play knight c6, which is considered by far the main and most principal line in the King's Indian classical variation. After d5, so the whole idea of knight c6 is to draw d5 and then play knight e7 with the idea to move away the h5, knight to h5 and play f5. And there are literally hundreds and hundreds of games and tons of theory in this variation. Basically, the latest result is that the position is a bit unclear, but white has a slight edge. But I didn't want to go in all of this theory, and I played bishop e3. Now, let me tell you the reason behind bishop e3. Now, if black plays knight c6, trying to transpose into the main line, after d5, knight e7, now white doesn't castle. The key move here is knight to d2. Notice that the king is still in the middle. That gives white a very good option to castle both king side or queen side. So now if black tries to open up with f5, I can either start playing with b4 right away on this side and meet f5 with f3. And I'm not afraid of closing up the king side because my king is nice and safe in the middle. And I can always castle queen side. Or I can start with queen c2 with similar ideas, try to castle on the queen side and not allow black to have any attack on the king side. So you see, bishop e3 is a very dangerous move if black is not aware of this. And my opponent played c6. Now, to tell you the truth, since I'm quite new to this opening, I was not quite familiar with the move c6 at all. So here I was out of my preparation, out of my book. The main move usually is knight g5, knight g4. Try to take advantage of the bishop on e3. And after bishop g5, f6, bishop h4, we reach this complex position. The key here is that white still has a very powerful center, and white hasn't closed the position. So if black plays knight e6, then white can play d5. And after knight e7, play knight d2, putting pressure on the g4 knight. And then, again, white has always a choice to castle on the king side or on the queen side. So let's go back and take a look at the game with c6. Now, I just played the first move that came into my mind, which is castle, because I'm not really familiar with the theory. The other main move here is, besides castling, is d5. Now here d5 is not quite the same as d5 earlier in the game, because here there is tension already on the queen side. And if black tries to close up the position, white can immediately start up his attack with b4, a3 and b4, as you see it here. Still having an option to keep the king in the middle. So d5 is the other main move which I wasn't even aware of during the game, and I castle. Now e takes d, and again here I play the move which is not considered the main line, but I thought it was kind of obvious, knight takes d4. But actually a bit stronger is bishop takes d4, and you'll see shortly why. So I took with the knight, rook e8, attacking my pawn on e4, and now, as you see, it's not so easy to defend the pawn. The reason why is that if I play f3, black has this very nice idea to thrust in the center with d5. And now you see this bishop is really weak on e3, and black gets a very easy and comfortable play. So now I ask myself a question. If I can't play f3, how do I defend the e4 pawn? So for now I decided to play queen c2 because I'm not afraid of knight g4. Simply bishop takes, f3, and I got a very nice bind in the center. I'm going to follow up with rook ad1, rook e1, and play against the weak d6 pawn. So I wasn't afraid of knight g4 at all. But my opponent played a very good move, queen e7. Again, putting pressure on the e4 pawn. Now, if I play f3, after g5, again, black gets a very comfortable game. So what to do? I didn't want to play bishop d3 because after knight g4, it turns out that I'm going to have to lose my bishop on e3. And I don't want to do that. So the only reasonable move is bishop f3. And that is the whole point why I should have taken on d4 with the bishop instead of the knight. Because now my bishop on f3 is not well placed. So let's see if black can take advantage of that. Knight bd7 with idea knight e5. So far black is playing really good. And again, if I play a move such as rook f e1, knight e5, bishop e2, again, knight is going to go to g4 with a very good game for black. So to anticipate that idea, I played h3, and now my opponent could have played knight e5, but he thought for a long time and played knight c5 instead. So let's try to analyze knight e5 and why didn't black play this move. Now, of course, I can play bishop e2, but the question is what to do if black simply goes back with the knight. Do I take the threefold repetition with white or to play on? So here I was thinking of an interesting idea to play bishop g5 during the game. And the idea of bishop g5 is the following. After h6, bishop h4, black cannot win the pawn on e4 with g5 for the following reason. Knight f5, queen e6, and simply bishop g3. And now, if black takes the pawn, he almost loses by force. Let's take a look. Knight takes g7, hitting the queen and the rook, so king has to take. Knight takes e4, queen takes e4, and now, very nice and simple move, queen c3 check. And notice that if black plays knight e5, he simply loses his queen after bishop d3, queen takes bishop, bishop e5 check, and the queen is lost. And knight f6, we simply play bishop d3, queen e7, rook a e1, bishop e6, f4, and black position falls apart. Multiple threats. f5, if g takes f, then bishop h4, followed by rook takes f4, and due to the pin, the knight is going to get lost. So you see, this is completely winning for white. So maybe that's the reason why my opponent didn't try to repeat the position. But actually, after bishop h4, he has knight c5 with a very good game for black. So let's go back and try to analyze what is the point of knight c5. So, knight c5 with the bishop on f3. This is what happened in the game. So now it's clear that my pawn is under attack and I cannot defend it with any other piece. So maybe he thought that he's going to win the pawn. But in reality, I have this very nice move, rook f e1. And it turns out that black cannot take the pawn on e4. Let's take a look why. So it doesn't matter what knight takes. Knight takes. And now I have a star move, bishop d2. Using the pin, it turns out that he can't take my queen on c2. And he is completely lost after bishop h6. Beautiful checkmate. So after bishop d2, black has to give up his queen and try to defend this position, which I think is quite bad due to a lot of weaknesses. Rook versus bishop against queen, but the king is weak, d6 pawn is weak, and white has a very good chance to convert to win. So let's go back. So pawn on e4 cannot be taken, and black has to secure the knight on c5 with a5. So that's what happened in the game. So now let's review what happened in the opening. I managed to take out all my pieces. The pawn on e4 is untouchable. And now I have to come up with a plan. Notice that in King's Indian, black usually has a very powerful bishop on g7, but a backward and weak pawn on d6. So my goal here is to use my powerful centralized pieces to consolidate the position and to slowly limit black's counterplay, because black has really only chance in dynamic play in this position. So centralizing your pieces is the best plan in these types of positions. So rook a d1. This is the first stage of my plan. Again, very simple, centralizing your pieces, limiting black's counterplay, and slowly building up your position. You have a very powerful bind with the pawns on c4 and e4, and you just have to consolidate, and then white is going to be better. So let's take a look what happens. So a4. Black is gaining more space on the queen side, and at the same time, if I play b4 now, en passant followed by rook a3, or open up the a file, I'm not ready for that yet. So I continue with my plan. My bishop on e3 is kind of on the way of my rook, and it doesn't really do much, so I just play bishop c1. Opening up my other rook. So black now plays knight fd7, with simple idea to play knight e5 or to open up his bishop. And notice my next move. Bishop on f3 does absolutely nothing, and I simply play bishop e2. Again, pawn on e4 is untouchable, and my opponent plays knight f8, trying to get his knight to e6. And I play the move that you might guess, according to my plan, consolidate your pieces, bishop f1. Notice the interesting strategy. First I developed my bishops, then I moved them back. But here, white has a very powerful bind. And it's important for the rooks to control the center, so it's hard for black pieces to develop. For example, now it's very hard for black to develop his f8 knight to e6, due to a threat, knight f5, and the pin on the e file is really hurting black. And at the same time, black's pieces lack coordination. He only has a very nice knight and a very nice bishop, but other than that, there is no coordination, whereas all of white pieces are very nice, centralized, and slowly black is going to run out of moves because his position is very, very cramped. And notice that in King's Indian, black's plan is usually try to attack, whereas in this position, because of the open center, it's very, very tough to create any threats against my king. So he plays queen f6, and again, a backward move, third move backwards, knight f3. And this is a very strong move with idea bishop g5. So for example, he can't take on h3, bishop g5 simply wins. So he plays h6, and now again powerful move, bishop e3 back. Notice how my pieces recoil back. Whenever black weakens his position, I'm ready to strike again. Now e5, and the knight on c5 is going to be under attack. And at the same time, I set up a nice little trick. The trick is, can he take on h3? And the answer is no, because of bishop d4, queen f4, knight e2, queen g4, bishop takes, king takes, and now I can win either with knight h2, and the bishop on h3 is lost, or even stronger, knight g3 first, protect the e4 pawn, and the bishop is not going anywhere. Simple knight h2 finishes off the game. So h3 pawn cannot be taken, and after bishop e3, black is really struggling to find moves. Knight on f8, queen on f6, pawn on d6, and knight on c5 are all very badly coordinated. So he plays a3, trying to open up the queen side, and I'm ready to open his storm. Bishop d4, exclam, trying to exchange dark square bishops. Remember, if you exchange dark square bishops in these types of positions, black is really going to run dry on his counterplay. He's not going to have that powerful bishop anymore, and the king is going to be really, really weak. So queen e7, bishop takes g7, king takes, and now b4. Notice how white is slowly taking over the game. Knight e6, queen d2. Every move in chess you want to try to attack. Don't give your opponent a breather, especially in positions like this. Rook d8, queen f6, rook e3, defending my knight, rook d8. Alright, so it's obvious that white is slightly better, maybe even more than that, but now black defended all of his pawns. Black's pieces are really lacking coordination, his position is cramped, but how can white continue his attack? I played knight b1 with a simple idea to win the a3 pawn. And why not? And black decides to open up the position with d5. This is a double-edged move, this is a pawn sacrifice, but in reality he's trying to get any counterplay possible in this position. So let's see what happens. Pawn takes, e takes d, and knight f4. And most of black's pieces now come to life. The knight is very good on f4, rook on d8, bishop is opened up, except the knight on f8, most of black's pieces are standing well. There's one problem though, black is really down a pawn, and I can forget about the a3 pawn, and simple knight c3 protect my passer on d5. Because of knight on f3 is protected, he can never take on h3, and he plays bishop e6, and I simply play d6, securing the passer, and now it's really hard for him to attack the pawn on d6. So now the position enters the technical stage. You're up a pawn, and you have to convert without giving your opponent much counterplay. So let's see if I can do that easily. Knight d7, and here is the move that I am most proud of in this game, because it's not so easy to win after knight e4, queen b2. Black gets really good play. And how to proceed, because he's about to play knight b6, followed by either knight c4 or knight d5, and get some counterplay. And the move that I'm really proud of is, I think the best move in this position is knight to d4. For two reasons. I'm centralizing my knight, I'm blocking his queen from coming to b2, and I'm getting ready to play knight e4, activating my other knight. Notice again, the theme of this game is centralization. All of white's pieces are centralized. Black plays knight b6, knight e4, queen e5, and now there is a little combination followed by knight c5. Notice that he cannot take on d6 because of knight f5. He's going to lose an exchange. He plays queen g5. Now the game really is almost over. Knight takes bishop, pawn takes. I took with the knight on e6, but I could have finished the game much nicer after rook g3 and queen takes f4, simply winning the piece after queen takes knight e6. But I calculated the winning line, and I went for the winning line after knight takes, rook takes, queen d2, rook d2, and now white just has way too many pawns, especially the passer on d6, and black is completely lost. And the game continued. Rook e8, rook takes e8, rook takes e8, d7, paralyzing the rook, and bishop b5. Black is, of course, completely lost. Even if somehow he wins the d7 pawn, the pawn endgame is totally winning for white since he's got an extra pawn on the king side. Knight a8, and now a nice little move, rook e2, and black resigns, because he's going to lose at least a piece. So let's go back and notice how quickly white won after knight d4, the move that I'm very proud of. So in this position I played knight d4, and black's position is on the verge of being lost right away. So you see, in chess, sometimes it's not the most beautiful moves that win, it's those centralizing moves, especially if you have a very powerful position. What happens is that you just make all your pieces stand on better squares, and black's position just collapses. And this is exactly what happened here. After knight d4, knight b6, knight e4, it's completely over, very quickly. So with this, I want to finish this lecture, and make sure you remember the very powerful idea of centralization, especially in positions that we get from King's Indian defense. Thank you, and I hope to see you.
This is Grandmaster Damian Lemos here for OnlineChessLessons.net. First of all, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to receive more free chess videos from us, you can just click the subscribe button below. I would also highly recommend signing up for my free mail course, the 10 Grandmaster Secrets to Dominate Chess. During this exclusive course from OnlineChessLessons.net, I'll share with you my own Grandmaster shortcuts to effective attacking, defending, and growth hacks to improving your chess without complicated books or memorization. So sign up by clicking the sidebar on the right, and I know you won't be disappointed. Once more, this is Damian for OnlineChessLessons.net, and I'll see you in my videos. Thank you.